Hey, aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. And this is also on the Voice of Kona Radio 100.5 FM. And I'm here again with Captain Matt Dankin, and I'm going to have him give his background because he's been in the fire service for, I think, over 30 years. I do want to do a quick shout out to the sponsor of this channel, and this is aceofcoins.com. If you want to learn about how to lower your taxes or reduce them or eliminate them, if you want to learn about how to have better accounting, if you want to learn about how to license your biometric data, your face, which is being used by big tech, and if you want to understand how to get Bitcoin with tax-free, please go to aceofcoins.com, ACEOFCOINS.com, and tell them Michelle sent you. Captain Matt, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Michelle. Pleasure.
So first I want to just talk, what is your background? Just share your background so people kind of know a little bit about who you are and what you've been doing for the past 30 years.
So I retired 6 years ago from a career in the fire service of 33 years. I started out in 1985. I worked a couple seasons with what's now called CAL FIRE, it was Department of Forestry, and then I got hired on a municipal fire department, and I worked there for 30 years. And I had an opportunity the last probably 15 years of my career. I had the opportunity to go around all over California fighting major wildland fires. Although they were major at the time, they're some of the biggest ones at the time, but not as big as some of the ones that are going on now. I mean, I think currently right now there's one in Texas, is several 100,000 acres going on right now as
Yes.
we speak. And those were kind of unheard of back then. But back then it was 30, 50,000 anywhere in there. Those were big fires. And so I got a lot of experience seeing them firsthand and being on the front line of those fires. It wasn't until the Tubbs fire when I noticed that things had changed. The night of the Tubbs fire, I stayed awake all night listening to, I have a radio, a scanner. I was listening to all these different agencies around me and the several counties around, and there were over 70 fires that went on that one night. And supposedly because of windstorms, we've had lots of windstorms throughout my career, throughout my life, and never anything like this with this many fires. And that night of the Tubbs fire, that's when the Tubbs fire went from Calistoga over to Santa Rosa, crossed a 6-lane Highway 101, and burned down a fully sprinklered Kmart building, amongst many other incredible things that happened that night. And so that's when my eyes woke up to that this was different, and these were not natural fires.
And I have actually a video, a picture. I'll do a quick screen share because I want to show people the Tubbs fire. Actually, let me get the right page on that, and then get your, because we're also talking about what year was that? What year was the Tubbs fire?
That was 2017.
2017, and then Paradise happened after that.
Yeah, the
Because I'm from
2018.
Chico.
Yeah, 2018 was the Paradise Fire.
Yeah, Chico's 30 minutes, 20 minutes from Tubbs. And this is a California fire, has killed 32 people. Here's a look at some of the victims. This is October 13th. Yep, 2017. And it just looks really, really similar to the Maui fires. It's all white. It's like white. Everything was white there. I'm going to go back here and start it right here, but just pause it here. I mean, it's like white, not black. Now, normally when I look at wildfires, which I did have this one up, this picture was taken 2002 was this fire. And I have so many, the reason why my my computer's so slow is I have so many things open. But this was 2002. So this is more like a regular wildfire that you've seen in your career with the ash. Now this is white ash here, but the trees are all black and charred, and there's black here. So this was more of a 2002. Is this more of what you've seen in your past 30 years?
Yes, absolutely. That's way
Yeah.
more normal, especially the trees. That's what you would be typical what you would expect from a quote unquote normal fire, whatever that means, because really the biggest driver of fire is the weather, is the wind, the
Hmm.
relative humidity, the fuel moisture. Those are the big ones, and then the fuel.
Hmm.
And we know that the weather is being controlled and manipulated and
Hmm.
weaponized. So
Yep.
that's that's the difference. And so when we say normal fire, it's really getting hard to define what a normal fire is when the weather is controlled.
Yes, very true, very true. And I'll show you, I've shown you guys many times in my prior videos about weather modification, including, I think it was the last one. So if you haven't seen that, please go look at that. So this is Tubbs right here. There's no refrigerator. There's no stove. Everything is white. So what is your expert opinion on this? Just looking at this, what would you say?
Extreme heat to do that. Extreme heat. Normally, yeah, on a typical house fire, you would have the aftermath of a fire, you would be able to see where the bathroom was, where are the toilets, where are the porcelain toilets, where's the bathtub, where are the countertops, where the granite countertops or whatever, and the oven and the stove and the
Hmm.
refrigerators. So this extreme heat to do what we're seeing in that picture right there.
And this again is, I just want to remind everybody, this is not Maui. This is Tubbs in 2017. And now this one is Paradise. And this was in 2018. So a year later. And Captain Matt, what do you think? The laughter that I'm having is because it's so intense. It's like either that or cry or scream. But what would you say to this? This is like, look at, they've forgotten to burn the trees, the wildfire.
I'll be
Like,
honest, I haven't it I saw a lot of Paradise. I didn't actually see anything that looked that bad, I'll be honest with you. But
I,
that
I did. I was there. I mean, I
okay,
went there after
because I
Christmas.
thought they scaled it back in Paradise. It looked like they scaled it back because I could see the most of the stuff we saw, it was obviously not natural, but there was a lot of debris left. There was a lot of debris. We had melted I-beams at the bottom of trailer parks. But they were there.
Wow.
From here, it looks like I'm seeing dirt and discolored dirt. I mean, it doesn't look like there's much there. It's hard to tell from an aerial view how much is sticking up, but it doesn't look like it looks flat. It looks completely flat. And then you look at all the
Yeah,
vegetation.
it's,
So if this
yeah,
is an unaltered,
I know.
if this is unaltered, this photo, then it is absolutely, yeah, this is unbelievable. The forest was the exposure. When you have a fire, typically you have exposures, things that the fire could that are close to the fire that the fire could ignite. Well, here, this was a fire of houses, and the forest was the exposure that could have caught on fire. Um,
Mhm.
so it's for it to burn that hot and to get it down to that while you have all these trees here with green on. I mean, it's to me, there's nothing normal or natural about that.
Yeah, I
So
went there because my mom lives 30 minutes away, 20, 30 minutes away from Paradise. I went there that Christmas and I wish I would have taken pictures. That was back in 2018. And it was so weird because there was houses that were ash, then there was a house that was completely intact, no char, no nothing burned. Then there was a white picket fence all the way around the house, completely not touched. Then there was a whole gas station not there, but then the next house was ash. So you have some pictures. I'm gonna stop my screen share and let you do your screen share because you have some amazing pictures from, is this Tubbs?
no, this is Paradise.
Oh, Paradise.
So we saw a lot of this in Paradise, where areas where the trees were burned out at the base and with root tunnels. You can see the hole. This is hollowed out, but then the branches and the leaves were unburned. So this was not like the normal fire. This was a fire. This was like underground. It was where it was the hottest was underground. In the ground, there's no oxygen, and the fire needs oxygen to burn. So it's going to have the hardest time burning. That's a way of putting out a fire. You can put dirt over it. Well, these roots are surrounded by dirt, and they tend to have the most water because that's what they're down doing, is searching for water, and they burn the most. So there was something about this fire where it seemed like the conductivity of water and metal had a lot to do with how this fire burned. And the trees were burned at the most. Many of them were burned the most at the bases, creating tunnel systems and a hollowing out the centers of these trees. So I'll continue
Now,
on.
I I also talked with the arborist Robert, and he said, because I asked him, I said, how come the trees aren't burning? He said the chemistry of the fire is different than the chemistry of a regular wildfire, and the reason why they're burning from the inside is because you just said the water. They're actually burning the water, which in Maui, the water also was on fire, and so he said that's what's actually burning. What would you say about that?
Yeah, well, what we saw, again, heat goes up typically, so you would expect to find evidence that that's where the heat was going. Where here the heat went down, heat burned most. This was a tree in a blacktop school in Paradise, surrounded by blacktop, no other trees around within 60, 70 feet at least, and it was completely burned out, hollowed out from the inside out. You can see this, and it looked almost like a barbecue pit. So
Yeah, it does.
how did that start burning from the inside out?
Mhm.
So this was, I mean, to me, this was unbelievable. This was a big tree. This was probably 120-foot tree, and completely burned from the inside out. And when it's
Wow.
surrounded by asphalt all the way around it. So what we saw would be, reminded us of how a microwave cooks things. It cooks from the inside out, and it reacts much more violently with metal than it does organic matter such as wood. So if you were to put a pile of nails
Mhm.
in your microwave and turn it on, it would react much more violently than a pile of sticks. So, I mean, eventually it'll all burn, but the sticks will eventually burn, but it much more violently reacting to the metal. And that's what we saw here. Anywhere there wood fence posts, like a barbed wire fence, where the wire touched the wood post, there was charring of the post where the wire touched it. That's not a normal fire.
I've
That's not
seen
how
that.
fires normally burn. So this
This one's great, you guys. If you're watching
another
this, get ready.
yeah, another thing that we noticed, I think there were multiple different methods for the fire spread. This at that same school, not that far away from this last picture with this, about within I don't know, 50, 75 feet of this, there was this electrical fault. And this door was closed when we walked up to it, and there was no fire damage, no external fire damage to this vault. When the person I was with opened the door to this vault, this is what we saw. There was a melted smart meter on the floor of this vault. So it had burned on the inside from the wiring. It had to be from the wiring, a pulse of electricity, something. It was not caused from external fire damage. So, which makes me believe, and we saw other smart meters that were melted when nothing else around them was burned. So to me, this was part of the cause of the fire, were these smart meters. So this did not happen from an external fire. Otherwise, you'd see you'd see evidence of fire damage to this vault on the outside. Here's another
Wow.
photo. This was typical. We'd see a vehicle like this burned down to nothing at all left with it. The windows melted, all the glass melted, everything, tires gone, and within 10 feet of it, there's a plastic garbage can, just fine, maybe a little melted from the heat exposure, but just fine, along with this tree right here. And everything else, anything touching metal, connected to metal, got extremely hot. Here's another, this is typically what we saw, the aftermath of the fires, of what it looked like.
Yeah.
Up here in the right-hand corner, you'll see
Oh, yeah.
this blue plastic garbage can. So number one, it's a garbage can, but it's plastic, and plastics are microwave safe. So it seemed like plastics fared pretty well as long as they weren't connected to
Right.
metal. And
Mhm.
it is blue, which probably may have nothing to do with this fire, but I'm sure we'll talk about that coming up
Mhm.
too. There's another plastic, doghouse, fared fine while everything else around it burned. This is typical what we saw with the cars. Complete melting, burning of everything connected to metal. And that's an extreme amount of heat to do this. So again, this was a trailer, everything, metal, everything just completely burned. But the forest around it seemed to do just fine.
Mhm. Yep, that's exactly the way it looks.
Another
That's right.
photo of a tree burned from the inside out.
Mhm.
Look, if you look at this is manzanita bush. Look at the charring. Look, it burned right at the base, and it burned so hot it split. It burned all the way through. Burned all the way through at the base, burned the
Wow.
ground, and I'm sure I'm sure there's holes in the ground. So you can see the charring there. We're burned all the way through. And if
Mhm.
you should go to start a fire in your fireplace, you always start with the smallest wood because it burns the easiest. So this fire just, burned this all the way through to where it broke apart, but it didn't burn the leaves, didn't burn the small branches. That's not a normal fire. That's not how fires normally burn. There's another
Especially
picture.
manzanita. Isn't manzanita hard to
Yeah,
burn?
mansion. Yeah. Well, yeah, it burns really hot, but the leaves should burn
Mhm.
lot
Quicker,
hotter.
yeah.
Yeah. So again, here's another photo. And look, it just creates these holes in the ground where it burns off, it burns completely through chars and falls over. And there's these tunnel systems where it burned out. So um, again, another one with manzanita. And again, if you look close, you can see there's holes here where the root systems were, and these things are burned off completely burned off at the bases. It all burned off at the bases where the wood is the thickest, where it should be the hardest to burn. And then all the
Mhm.
finer, smaller branches and leaves are still intact. So
Mhm.
again,
Wow,
another one burned from the inside out. This
that's
was
amazing.
a lot of that. And that's all I have, but just
I love it.
that's not normal. If it was just one tree, would be an anomaly and there'd probably be an explanation for it. But when you see tree after tree that way, and especially when you see fence posts and they're only burned where the wire was touching, we've seen on other recent fires where guardrails had to be replaced, even though the 6x6 or 8x8 wood posts they were attached to were in the ground where there was no weeds, nothing that should have burned, but they burned. And
Mhm.
so we saw them in Paradise also replacing
Mhm.
metal culverts, metal culverts for creeks the water goes through. Why would you have to replace a metal culvert? If a normal
Mm.
fire comes through, it should not have any effect on a metal culvert, which is low in the lowest point where water goes through, at least in the wintertime. And there's, but again, because these were not normal or natural.
Absolutely. So I do want to do another screen share on my end. And if you guys are watching, there's stuff that we can do, and it is coming together. So again, join standtogetherhawaii.com because we're working on a plan because in my view, we are under attack. The world is under attack. We got this in Chile, we had this in Greece, we now it's in Texas, Maui. So we are coming together. And so I'm just so grateful for experts like Captain Matt coming forward and sharing this information. I do want to keep going with this. And I want to share a little bit about, well, the blue, because we talked about blue. And I'm sure some of you have seen this video, but this one is from Eric West at Hawaii Real Estate. And this is where he literally was walking through the fire in Maui, like I think the second day. It was either the second or the third day, and this is what he found in the rubble and the ashes. Look at that. It's just folded. So, Captain Matt, what would you say to that? And there's also this other one that is a ticket, a blue ticket of paper. And I'll just show this one really quick, but you're welcome to, I'll take off the sound here so you can give us your expert opinion on how in the world is it possible for these blue, and I'll show you guys a video of what happens with the laser. But is this possible for a regular fire to have these blue tickets, paper tickets, and paper tickets and t-shirts not harmed in any way?
Yeah, this was new to me. I mean, I've seen the videos with the blue cars, the blue houses, and the blue umbrellas, and other videos like this, and it's pretty shocking. But when you start looking at the technology out there with different frequencies and how certain colors are immune from certain frequencies, then that makes sense. It completely makes sense. You know, if there were other shirts, a lot of times it depends. I mean, if things are sandwiched in a way to where they're protected, it would be possible, but you would see other pieces of clothing with different colors. And when you're only seeing blue, and especially like this ticket, when everything else is completely burned, yeah, it's obviously that something's not right, something's not natural. And then when you start doing research about frequencies and how different colors react with different frequencies or immune to different frequencies, then that all makes sense.
So I'm going to share that video now since you just talked about that. This is great. This is from the Cato B. Hagen. And I couldn't find the actual, I used to have the actual TikTok video, but this is going to show a laser coming through, but look what happens when it touches blue. I have his audio turned off. Nothing. It doesn't burn. And it burns these other colors right through. And this is um, a laser weapon of some sort. And it said that laser, like what you just said, that they can be programmed for different frequencies. And see, everything is frequency, everything is energy, but color has a different frequencies. Each color has a different frequency. So it's very interesting that all of these blue, there's even a Tommy Bahama blue umbrellas around an entire place that's pretty much ash, except these umbrellas are still there, fully intact, not even any cindered or ashed at all or burned at all. I want to go to the next point here, and this is, oh, go ahead. Did you have something to share?
No, I didn't have anything to say.
Okay. We are going to go to, I believe this is the rims. I got to look at my notes really fast. Here, 18. Yeah, it's right here. So this is the melted rims. Have you, in 30 years before the tub's fire, did you ever see rims that were melted like this?
You know, they can melt. They melt around 1200 degrees, and when we would go on a fire, typical car fire, the car would be on fire and we'd put them out. So that's not, but it's not that strange to me to see that. We have seen that, but what is more strange is for the amount of complete burning of these cars down to nothing, especially when you see that there's nothing around them except roadway, asphalt. How did this get so hot to burn completely like that? And then a lot of times you'll see these cars and there'll be something, a tree 10 feet away that's unburned. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
bigger thing. But yeah, to me, so yeah, the aluminum will around 1200 degrees will melt, but the windshield, it takes about 3000 degrees to melt the windshield. It takes a lot more to do
Oh
that.
my gosh.
And that's what you see on these vehicles. You
Mm-hmm.
see the windshield's completely gone. You see everything
Yeah, they're
inside
all gone.
completely gone. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
a lot of heat, a lot of heat. And when they're by themselves, with nothing around to get, to get them that hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I want to go to the next the next showing of the dog because there's numerous even people. We have a toad that was literally frozen
Yeah,
and charred. But look at this. I
yeah,
mean, you see his fur, you can see his teeth, you see his ears. Even his ears are not burned
right,
off.
right.
And he's frozen like he's running. It looks like he's running, with
Yeah,
his paws out.
yep.
So what would you say to this?
Yeah, well, I mean, think of if you were to roast a dog, or I mean, that sounds terrible, but heat a dog, burn a dog. What you're gonna a normal fire is gonna burn from the outside in. I've been on dead bodies, burn victims in car accidents and burn victims. They're charred on the outside, completely charred, and they're bloody on the inside. I mean, that's just the way it is. And everything would be gone on the outside if this was again like from a normal fire. It wouldn't look like this. And it would probably be curled up like in a ball trying to protect itself from the heat. This does not look like that. This looks like it was frozen in time, like something happened. And I've never seen anything like this. So, and I've seen burned animals, I've seen burned people, and never seen anything like this.
So we actually have the toad, and this toad, which is it's jumping. It's like it's jumping. Its legs are out, and it's charred, completely charred. And we sent it to a doctor who said he would help analyze to see how it was the heat of how it died. But he's never gotten back to us after 3 months. So if you guys are out there and you know of a scientist who can actually take a sample of what we have and see how it died, or as far as like the amount of temperature it took for it to die, or if there was microwave energy involved. If you can help with that, please email me. My email's in the description, Michelle at Blossom Inner Wellness, because we need to find another doctor, because I don't know if that was a controlled opposition person, but he's never gotten back to us again. We also have another sample of an owl that a lady found in Lahaina for that. So I'd love that. If you guys know somebody who can help with that, please get in touch with me. I want to go to the which is the next part, the tree. So this is, we saw the tree on that Captain Matt had shared, and this one is the one from Maui with the fire coming through it, and hopefully I gotta close some of these windows. Sorry, everybody. But let's see here. It is, I'm gonna pause. Hold on one second here. So here's the picture from Cron 2, and this is a tree from Maui. This was actually one of their thumbnails that they used with that, like, you guys are just it's in plain sight, but this is the fire burning from the inside again, and this is in Maui. So we saw the one in Lahaina, or in Paradise, and now this one is in Maui, coming from the inside out. Do you want to share anything else about this, Captain Matt? I know you've already shared a lot.
No, no, I don't. There's not enough. There's not enough evidence for me, and it's too hard to see. It's possible that this could have been something where flames got in and it was a perfect environment for it to actually do that, but that's not normally what we see. That's not normal how trees burn. Doesn't mean they can't under the right circumstances. And with wind, with a lot of wind behind anything, you can get a lot of things to burn that wouldn't normally burn a certain way with a lot of wind. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that's not typical for sure.
Mahalo for that. And I just want to check and see if there's anything else. Ah, this is okay. This was from a passerby, a plain person, and just filming the Maui fires. And what I want to stop is, I've shared this one with you before, Captain Matt, but it's this oval. It's this oval.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not sure which way it's burning, but it looks like it's going outside, but I don't know. But is this normal? I mean, it's almost a perfect oval. So what would you say to this?
I mean, my first thought would be, is that a is that a fence burning around a racetrack, or is that some kind of a wall that's around a, looks like a stadium or something? So fires don't normally do that, but if it's a perfectly oval or round circle like that, then that's my first thing. What is that? What's that structure that's burning? Now, not knowing if it's not a structure and it's just grass or something, then fires typically they burn from the inside and they burn outward. They burn away because everything, that's the only way they can go. Because everything, when they start small, if an ember drops here, it burns outward in all directions. So it would be burning out. That's why it's black. It looks like it's black in the middle there, where it's already burned and burning out. But for it to burn like that, it would almost have to be no wind. And we know there was a lot of wind. So fires don't typically burn in a circle unless there's no wind, because what you have is you have the wind pushing it to where you have basically, it's like a point where you have a right flank and a left flank, and it's burning like this. And that's not doing that. So without more information of what's there, what's on fire, and without more information, it's just too hard to tell.
Yeah. As far as my understanding, there's no racetrack in Maui, but there could be. I don't know. I don't think so, but yes. So there's another one. There's another fire. This one was interesting because this one shows it's like somebody's writing Eminem or something on here. Let's see. Normally I have this all queued up. Oh, here it goes. And this is WBNS. And I want to pause it here. Actually, let them go a little bit more. But here, it's just like, and I know that, what do you think about this? This just looks like somebody's writing. And I don't know. And I don't understand fires, but that just looks weird to me.
So these two flared parts, yeah, it's just too, it's really just too hard to make a comment on, not knowing what we're looking at. What is what's the terrain like there? What is the fuel type? What is on fire? I'm sorry, it's just too, I just don't know.
No worries. No
I'd
worries.
have to
I
know
just
what I'm
find it
looking at.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's but no, thank you for that. So the last thing I want to show you guys is Chile. Chile, let's see here. Is this the one? Oh no, this isn't the one. It's a smart city in Chile. So we know that Chile I think it still is on fire. But I showed you how Maui is set to be the first smart city in Maui for the Hawaiian Islands. And same thing with the one in Chile. And now Texas is on fire. And I haven't researched if Texas is set to be a smart city. I think Austin is. I think Austin is one of the ones, and I hope Austin's not burning, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what area of Texas is burning, but I know hundreds of acres. I'm not sure. Have you had any new information on what's happening in Texas?
I heard it's hundreds of thousands of acres, so several 100,000 acres is what I've heard, but no, I haven't followed it yet.
Okay.
So
Remember when I've shown you guys the Direct Energy Weapons Acquisition Act of 2016, I'll share that just one more time, because I don't know what did this, obviously, but I do know they have the technology for weather modification and for direct energy weapons. And I'll share this here. This is from the congress.gov. This is 2015 to 2016. And this is what happened is the Committee of Armed Services of the Senate noted in a report that since the 1960s, the Department of Defense has invested more than $6 billion since the 1960s, $6 billion in direct energy science technology initiatives, and that the committee is concerned that despite the significant investment, the department's direct energy initiatives are not resourced at levels necessary to transition them to a full-scale acquisition program. So since that, Congress has put through this Direct Energy Weapon Systems Acquisition Act of 2016 because they wanted to have it be come to full-scale program. And that is true. This is not a conspiracy theory. That is the truth. This is a this is a patent for a microwave transmission using laser-generated plasma beam waveguide, and this was accomplished April 23rd, 2002. And then I believe this one, oh yeah, this is the Jump Smart Maui. So Jump Smart Maui. So I just wanted to share that with you guys as well. And just our power as people is to know what's going on, to not look a blind eye, to not act like this is a normal thing that's happening where you have hundreds of thousands of acres burning, where trees are burning from the inside out, where houses are left in just ash, and the vegetation is still there. So Captain Matt, I just want to say so much mahalo for coming on and for speaking the truth and for being who you are, because I know this time isn't easy, and you're definitely dealing with some stuff as well, but I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for what you're doing. And yes, I hope people realize that we are under attack, and we do have to take things into our own hands. We have to take control because our government's out of control, and we're being attacked by our own government, and so in so many different ways. And we need to get back control and understand what's going on. So thank you for all you do.
Absolutely. And so for those of you who, if you want to go forward, if you want to help, if you want to be part of the solution, please go to standtogetherhawaii.com, standtogetherhawaii.com. And the other thing I want to share is that this time is like, we act like this world is serious. This is our spirit. This is our spirit came into these vessels called a human body to play this game. And this is why my kuleana, what is mine to do, I have always followed my intuition. Every time my business got stuck, I was like, okay, universe, what's next? What's next? What's next for my business? And I would let it go. And then at usually 4:30 in the morning, I'd wake up and I'd go, oh, I'm supposed to do this. This is how this whole channel got started, was because I kept going, what can I do? Oh, now I have to do this video. Now, oh, this person, then this person shows up. So what is yours to do? Follow your guided intuition, because this is a game. And if you are guided, we have spirit guides, we have people that protect us. We leave the planet, we transition out of here when it's our time. Trust that. I'm trusting that for myself. I'm trusting that. And I'm going to keep going. And again, like I said, this is a game and we win. We win because all of us wake up to the truth of what's happening. We're all so busy. It's like, I go to different events and I see people and they're just talking about normal stuff, which this is usually my life when I'm talking, when I go out, and I notice that other normal people are like not talking about this. And I'm like, how can you not be talking about this? So it is time for each one of us to wake up. So if you're at a party, bring it up. Because bring it up. If it's calling your heart, if you're like, oh, I want to say something, but I'm afraid of what people will think about me, say it anyway. Say it in a kind way, but say it anyway. Because the truth of the matter is the United States of America is not the United States of America. It is the United States corporation. And all of the government agencies are contractors. They're not even government agencies anymore. They have a Duns and Bradstreet number. They are, which means they're a business. So Captain Matt, I know you know about this. Would you like to share a little bit of 2 cents on this topic?
I would love to. I actually prefer this because this is the root of the solution. I really don't like talking much about the fires because that's old news. That's weather weaponization. They've been doing it for a long time. They're doing it with everything. It's our governments are out of control. And yes, the United States is a corporation that's located in the District of Columbia. So it's a federal corporation. All the other state of California, state of you name it, they're subsidiary corporations of the United States Corporation. A US citizen, if you're identifying yourself as a US citizen, that's a 14th Amendment US citizen, you are a creation of Congress, and you don't have the rights that you think you have. You're not protected by the Constitution with your unalienable or inalienable rights that you think you have. You have whatever civil rights the government has given you, and you must follow all their code, statutes, regulations as a 14th Amendment US citizen. So the first step is learning this, understanding this, and taking our power back. Our public servants have tricked most people and put them underneath them. I mean, we, the people, are in control, are in charge, and our public servants have gone awry, have gone astray, and tricked everybody. And we need to understand that. And we have a right to self-determination. We need to use that right and to get our proper status back and give notice, because we've contracted in unknowingly our whole life, stating under penalty of perjury that we are US citizens, just thinking that meant we're Americans, not knowing that we're actually telling them that we are these corporate subjects underneath the government. That's what we've been telling them by telling them under penalty of perjury we're US citizens on a 1040, on the driver's license, everything. So this is the root of the problem. This is the solution of getting control and taking back control of our government and getting out of this system and stop funding this system that is turned against us. The Internal Revenue Service, that's all voluntary. You've done it voluntary. You've been tricked
It
into
is.
thinking that you have to do it, but it's all voluntary. So this is the
Correct.
solution, is to stop funding our own enslavement. So thanks for giving me the
Absolutely.
opportunity to share that, Michelle.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do have a freedom school. Some of the videos with Matt and also with Jack and Margie Flynn. And that is, just go to, again, standtogetherhawaii.com, click on freedom school. It'll take you to my Blossom Inner Wellness, my regular business. And that's a PMA, a private membership association. So you do need to agree, because it's in the private. And it's in the private, so it's away from the government. It's not public. So you just sign that you are going to be a part of the private membership association with Blossom Inner Wellness. As soon as you sign in that you're going to be part of the private membership, you're automatically put into the Freedom School. So as soon as you log into that, you're going to have all the access to all the classes that I have there, including exactly what I've done for myself to get out of the system. And it is a walk. It is a different walk than the way that we have been programmed through school, through getting a regular job job, through all of it. It's different, but it's what we're meant to do. And if you're first hearing this for the first time and going, what do you mean I'm not a US citizen? A US citizen, 14th Amendment says you have privileges and not rights. It actually says you have privileges, and there was another P word, I can't remember what it is, but it's not a person with unalienable rights from God, even though that is who you are. You are a living woman or a living man, not a US citizen. And so again, I invite you, standtogetherhawaii.com, and click on Freedom School, join us, and let's do this thing. This is what we came here for. Captain Matt, I just so appreciate you, because this is definitely what you came here to do. Because
Thank you.
I'm not going to share with what's going on with what he's doing, something that when it is completed, we're going to share, and it's going to blow your guys' minds, because this guy is really, really, really brave. So much mahalo, Captain Matt.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for all you do.
All right, well, let's do a quick prayer. Great Spirit, infinite intelligence of all things. This game is quite the experience, Great Spirit. I mean, emotions up and down and all around. And I'm just so grateful to all the people that have shown up in my life, to all the viewers, to everybody who is saying, yes, I'm going to take my action. I'm going to step forward. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to speak out when I feel I should be speaking out. I'm going to be brave too. I just know that each person that's hearing this message has a spark of light that is just growing inside of them. and sending them so much courage and so much inner strength right now to do what is right, not what is easy, because we came here to do what is right. And Great Spirit, we are doing that through you, with you through us. Great Spirit, I'm so, so grateful for this, you moving the sun across the sky, and you're breathing all of our bodies together, and you're beating our hearts with one heartbeat of humanity. Every single person on the planet's right now, every person is having their body breathed by you, Great Spirit, having their heart beaten by you, Great Spirit. There is infinite intelligence that is always around us, and we are tapping into that right now. And we know it with absolute certainty that the darkness is leaving the planet, that all those in power who are not for people, who are not for the good of humanity, that we get to watch as they voluntarily step down or are peaceably removed from office. And we get to watch as freedom, true freedom, comes back to this world, and we all live in harmony and in unity together. And so it is. Great Spirit, I just am so, our Great Spirit, and that's in you too, Matt. Great Spirit is inside of you. So much mahalo, Matt. I'll talk with you soon. Mahalo and
Thank
aloha,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Michelle.